Waterloo is a fantastic story. He goes away, it all quietens down. No, he comes back, he gets bored.
What do you mean he's back?
We gave him an army, facepalm meme, just like, oh, why did we give him an army? Oh, I think that's such a good idea. I quite enjoyed that. The first one to him when he's got his first Peninsula command. And then 2 days later, he writes to Hill. And he's like, my dearest Hill, I'm so excited. You can imagine someone being like, OMG.
Hill, you won't believe what's happened.
Hill, really? And he's like, you're in Cork, you got to come join me.
Takes a picture of his document, the letter they've sent him, and says, guess what happened today? Sends it over.
It would be a properly, like, hold it up next to you selfie moment. Yeah. Who shared earlier something online, and it was who was it? It was Napoleon, Wellington, Caesar, and Washington, and it had the number of battles they won, and it was like, well, Napoleon's won more battles, so he was obviously a superior general. And I was like, yeah, but it says Wellington's only won 36 battles. I'm like, that's not right. Load up a website, list all of his battles, and I was like, well, I've counted 50. Never had a pitched defeat, certainly. No. I was like, they're either indecisive or he's withdrawing anyway. Right, okay, brilliant. Whereas Napoleon, not only did he lose a lot of battles, he also lost campaigns.
Oh, yeah. Whole wars.
And it's also, how many times did he jump in a carriage and run away? Because I can list two that are just really good anecdotes of Waterloo and Moscow. And I'm like, I'm not quite sure about the 1813 campaign. He probably ran away pretty quickly at the end at one point.
It's just he didn't have very far to go in 1813 is all. There's Egypt as well.
Oh, Egypt. And Egypt just leaving his entire army.
And came back and said, I won. I think he'd probably get away with counting Marengo as an almost, because he was probably about half an hour away from jumping on whatever horse he had near him and running off somewhere.
I don't know what his horse was before Marengo.
Just horse. Just
horse.
Cheval. Yeah. He wasn't famous enough to have a horse with a name.
That's the other one that I dislike about Napoleon is everyone goes, yeah, well, he fought and won more battles. Yeah, but he wanted the battles, he wanted the wars. Yeah. Whereas Wellington was very much, that's your job. He wept. He was reading the Butcher's Bill and weeping. He said he didn't want to fight another battle, and he didn't. And he just he was deeply upset by these things. But these men actually didn't enjoy war, I don't think. Maybe Blucher.
I think Blucher had just exposed himself to so much war that it no longer affected him in the same way.
It's the black flag. Going reading, where is it? Wellington's Mongrels, somewhere behind me, about the Chasseurs Britanniques. Oh, Wellington's Mongrel. It's quite good. Purely because I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Emigres regiment, because it kind of helps prove my point that it was a bit of a world war. And also, you've got the Chasseurs Britanniques, as the clue is in the name. You've got French fighting against Napoleon, but you've also got places like the Corsican Rangers. There's a lot of bits out there. I do, again, linking that. I've definitely got a soft spot for the Emigres. Just kind of if they're motivated by, some of them got patriotism and some of them got purely for money, and then there's a lot in like the Chasseurs Britanniques where you've got French prisoners of war, and they were especially going, oh, we're catching the French prisoner of war, we're going to turn around to all of their Germans and say, do you want to enlist in our army? And then get really surprised when they desert and go back to the French, and then they found that one had actually done it 3 or 4 times. Hey, we're definitely going to have to flog him now. Game 6.
I'm getting the impression that this conversation could be a really good series of memes. A picture of somebody saying, "Oh, we're really going to have to flog him now."
Memes, most memes tend to be shark related because that's just easy to do. But yes,
We could probably find some good portraits of generals. I think there's one. Yeah, I can think of a good portrait of Sir Thomas Picton, where he's looking really angry. That would make a good. We're going to have to flog him now. So
nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with a history meme.
There was a thing that was on Twitter, I don't know, was some months back, and a bunch of us were coming up with a Wellington Brothers musical, a Wellesley Brothers musical.
I think I saw that on Twitter.
We were thinking of song lyrics and things.
Yes. And Lynn Bryant put on her version on Wednesday for #Wellington Wednesday for I am a very modern major general, and it's nice to see like there's these A, history geeks, which are my people, and B, Wellington history geeks, excellent. And there's a little group, like you say, like Lynn Bryant and Jacqueline Reiter and Rory Muir's got.
Oh yes, that's brilliant. Rory Muir's here.
Rory Muir was like on the skirts of it because he kept doing things, and then a few people like Jacqueline were going, he was like on the skirts of it, or the outskirts of it, and people were saying, that's a #Wellington Wednesday. You're tweeting about Wellington and it's a Wednesday, and then he started to go, oh well, as it's #Wellington Wednesday, here's my like 12 tweets thing about Wellington's dispatch about foraging, and I'm just like, that's fine. I mean. That is just what we
brilliant.
want.
That's really, it is what we want, actually. But yeah, Wellington Wednesdays are great. They're all fun. I've missed a few of them, and I'm annoyed about that.
A few people started like getting involved as well. Zach White and Dr. Fletcher. He's jumped in. So I had to ignore some of his April Fool's ones, like about Waterloo Station and things. So I was just like, I can't retweet them because. April Fools.
People will think it's real.
Yeah, we just did so much Nazi Germany that I was just absolutely sick of it. I just swore when I went to university, there was no way I was just going to read anything more about it, because you're like, there's got to be more to history than like 9 years.
Yeah, although most bookstores would appear to disagree with that.
Yeah. I do often say that. I'm like, Waterloo is one of the most like written about battles outside of the Second World War. It's always like,
and there's usually about 3 books about Waterloo. One of them is about Wellington, because in that section.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you go to France, and then it's just Napoleon.
Yeah.
And also Napoleon's life, Napoleon's Josephine. We never talk about the second wife, Josephine. His horses, his dinners, his victories, and also he lost. But also
all the times he catastrophically lost.
Not mentioned. That hence, #Wellington Wednesday must be one.
That's why it must stand. We must talk about Waterloo as well.
Must talk about Waterloo
because it is a perfectly laid out story in itself.
Did you know that that Marlborough stayed at Plantenor Farm? Now we've got to figure out, because Wellington read Marlborough's biography, diaries, on the voyage over to India, because he took over hundreds of books.
Yeah, there's lists of the books he brought over, and one of them's definitely.
He ordered them kind of as we would Amazon. He ordered them from shops, and they got delivered in huge chests. And we've got to now did he remember from like the early 1800s that Marlborough was there in the early 1700s? So did he remember from like 10 years ago something that happened 100 years ago?
Yeah, that got me thinking, because when he came to in 1814, was it, or early 1815? It was before Napoleon escaped, and he did that tour of Belgium, and he toured the fortifications of the frontier, and he actually said he picked the Mont Saint-Jean position-ish. He sort of, as he rode through it, through the forest of Soignes and things like that, up towards, and he actually said, if I was going to defend Brussels, I would do it here. So,
which is what Margaret said.
And so, whether, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's, unconscious memory, maybe.
It's either unconscious memory, it's either completely conscious and he remembered it, or these two great generals, arguably two of our greatest military leaders, have got the same eye for land, and it's a complete coincidence. But either one of those three is great.
It's brilliant, yeah.
It's so much fun. I just think it's great that Marlborough didn't fight there, but he kind of went, oh, well, this is the only place to defend. And it's not until you visit there and you like drive there and then you go, right, I've done the museum, so I'm going to explore a bit further. You go, oh, it's a flat bit of world. It's really, really flat. And, like, you visit Lincolnshire and you go, of course, it's flat, but you're like, it's got nothing on Wallonia in Belgium. And the fact you can see Belle Alliance from just in front of the Mont Saint Jean farm, near where the elm tree would be. And you go, it's a smaller battlefield than you'd imagine. You could take it out with a modern armour, like really easily. Like a modern tank, a modern long-range rifle. You could start to harass the Belle Alliance from Mont Saint Jean. But you go, but there's nothing else around. It's not a tall hill, but there's no other hills around. So it really is the only thing between France and Belgium that you go, it's a feature that will do. Yeah. Same for with the arms.
Absolutely, because it's if you read a lot about the campaign and you look at the terrain between Brussels and the frontier, the logic of it starts to play out in your head. Obviously,
when you start to see you've got Mons, Charleroi, Quatre-Bras, you're like, it makes sense.
Yeah, and those are the places Napoleon is going to drive his troops through. So these are the places that you have to think about. That's what the places that Wellington and Blucher were thinking about in trying to respond to the situation that was very quickly developing. And I always like to think of it as like there's a situation room in Brussels, and they're getting information pouring into Brussels as it's developing, and it's got that real feel of tension about it as he's trying to figure out where I can stop him.
This case, well, I think Wellington was always worried that if Napoleon swept around to the west, then he'd be struck off from the sea.
Yeah, that was definitely a concern of his, because he gave Napoleon too much credit. He was expecting something amazing to
he just
hit
went
him
straight up the front line.
And it's
I
don't know. I don't really care if it's apocryphal or not. It sounds like something he would say. He said he's just a plain old pounder after all, or something like that.
Hard pounding, this gentleman. Napoleon, I mean, you read quite a lot of things that he'd written two plans, and whether he accidentally sent the wrong one or if it was interpreted badly by his marshals, but it certainly wasn't a masterstroke. He roughly intended to get between the two armies, but they were pretty well connected. It was just that the Allied army was so strung out because we didn't know where they were going to come. I think if Wellington had concentrated then it would have been, it would have been over at Quatre-Bras. And the other one is that I always give Wellington a lot of credit for. I'm on the defensive. Is Duchess of Richmond's ball.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of using a little bit of outside knowledge here of my time with the army, and kind of going, you've got to have a moment that, even with all these amazing technology that we're doing today, you've got to have a moment that people get together and decide this is what we're going to do. And he wasn't going to have a chance to do that if he didn't go to the ball. And the fact that he went to the ball, he spent a bit of time flirting with the young ladies. That's Wellington.
It's all for morale.
He was going to have a rough day. He needed a bit of morale. But he did go to the side room. The Duke of Richmond, he asked him for a map, and he laid it out. He started calling in his officers and going, this is it. And there's apparently the map it's got a thumbprint on it, and that's meant to be Wellington's thumbprint. He puts it on Saint Jean, and he sends people off. And some senior generals didn't go to the ball because they knew that they're going to be mobilised that evening. And some went and then just ran to Quatre-Bras, famously in their dancing pump. I think there was the first casualty of the 95th Rifles, I believe I'm right in saying, was a heat exhaustion as on the march to Quatre-Bras.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you just got to get everyone together and go, right, I'm the boss. I've got a plan. This is the plan. Do you all hear me? Let's go and do it.
Yeah, because it's one of the moments of the story of the campaign is that he's at the Duchess of Richmond's ball. He goes there because most of the officers are going to be there, and he's still getting information, and he still doesn't know exactly what Napoleon's doing, and he's desperate for information. Essentially, he knows that the Prussians are being hit pretty hard, and they're trying to mobilise out where they are. There's that moment where he actually finds out that the Dutch are at Quatre Bras.
Yes. So
And that's when he decides.
In one of the aides talks to one of his aides, who's
Talks to another aide.
who's dancing with the daughter of the Duchess. And there's so many aides there. I mean, Wellington had something like in the region of over 20 aides, and he's only entitled to like 6. He was kind of paying for the others on his own staff. So there's aides everywhere. And like you say, it's very confusing because some people are coming in going, oh, well, we've seen the French over the west, or we've seen them over the east, or we definitely go fighting against the Prussians. And he's got to kind of take all that information and just decide there is going to be a main effort. The French are going to come on 1 or 2 roads because they've got to move up their cannon, and they're not going to go cross country. It could not be better to go. It took place at a ball.
Yeah.
It's like a murder mystery party.
Could you have planned it better?
Their tiaras on. It's brilliant. And then afterwards, you've got Major Percy riding off and putting the eagles at the Prince Regent's
victory sigh.
Yeah, the East India Club, which is a wonderful room. I was lucky enough to go see it recently. It's like, this is the perfect place. It finishes at a party in London.
Is it in the East India Club? Was it? Is it now?
Yeah, it is now. They've got a Waterloo room and they were having a ball there. Major Percy's like effectively going, I need to come in. I've got these eagles and we've won a victory. And the lady who'd hired the building out had gone, yeah, but if you do that, you're really gonna steal my thunder because my party. And they go, I
have to go in.
That we've won.
Yeah, it was.